Goddamn.
Ah, man, what is going on, everybody, here tonight on your Monday night for NHP Unscripted, man? This is the last episode of Unscripted before WrestleMania. So, we got what was a pretty interesting go home show here tonight for one reason or another. It was definitely interesting. And Yeah, we are. This was the last stop before WrestleMania 41, uh, in 5 days. So, we just finished up every most of the stuff, at least on our end, for WrestleMania. So that's exciting. That is definitely exciting. And yeah. So how how you feeling? How you feeling about the show? How you feeling about your excitement levels and whatnot? And how you feeling, bro?
Excitement levels for the show itself could definitely be better. Very. This was a very confusing mania. I'll give them that. Very confusing mania for the most part, man, and still are confused about some things and worried about some things coming to WrestleMania. But still, overall, am excited, man. We got Cena and shit, and we got some good shit. It's some interesting shit, and I'm excited, man. It's WrestleMania weekend. It's always gonna be a fun show at the end of the day, man. Always a fun weekend. So excited for that, obviously. But for the show itself, I'm more intrigued at this point than I would say I'm excited, if that makes sense. I'm still excited, but I think I'm more intrigued and a little worried than than normal, man. But overall, I would say I am very excited for the weekend, and it's WrestleMania, man. And apparently, I was wrong because apparently Joe Tessitore is gonna say on SmackDown that SmackDown this week starts early, but it doesn't. It's at the same normal time. So don't know why he would say that, but it's gonna be a big loaded weekend, man. And I always love these.
Oh,
Love doing the.
also,
Mhm.
sorry to cut you off. You remember the story about Stand and Deliver starting at 9 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
It starts at noon. So, I
You guys are WWE. How do you guys not know when you're going on for these shows, dude? Thanks. Good lord, man. But excited for the weekend. Always love the weekend. The back-to-back reviews, the four-day stretch, man. Always love it, and I'm excited for
yes.
that, man. More than anything, obviously.
Yeah, we got that multiple times this year. We got SummerSlam as obviously a two-nighter now, so we'll have another
Yeah.
stretch. We'll have another stretch similar to that for SummerSlam as well. But yeah, this is the big one, man. This is WrestleMania. Tonight's go home show, I thought uh there were some segments. I'm seeing a lot of people enjoyed the Gunther and Jay stuff. I thought Gunther's promo was very basic. I thought it was very very basic. I mean, I liked his tone. I do think I do think that Jay's promo and sort of his cockiness was a nice balance to it. But while I was listening to Gunther's promo, I didn't. I failed to catch what a lot of other people were catching. I'm seeing a lot of people loved it. I wouldn't say I loved it. I've seen him cut better promos. But I did like. I will say I did like the I guess temper he had. We've never really seen him cut a promo with that kind of temper before. And that, like I said, mixed with Jay kind of calling him out in a way and sort of making fun of him, kind of, getting a little scared or whatever, I thought was nice. I thought it was a nice offset to it. Um, for me, it was largely carried by the end of the show. I like what they did there, and we'll go over that when we go over it, but I think they dropped a lot of hints and I think they teased a lot of cool stuff that hopefully will come into fruition and hopefully that we will be seeing soon. But I'll definitely cover all that when we get to that. Other than that, man, I did not appreciate some of the matches we got on the show, being that two world title programs got video packages as their final push into WrestleMania, one of which being for one of the main women's championships in the company. I thought that was a little weak, and I thought they could have definitely did a better job with showcasing that. New Day and War Raiders is like, okay, I get it. If you don't have time for that on the show, it's the New Day in the fucking War Raiders. It's the tag titles shit, okay? I mean, that's, it's kind of like, it's kind of like, it's kind of like the I guess discourse for the Street Profits. It's like obviously it sucks. I want to see Motor City and the Street Profits, not really them. I want to see Motor City get a WrestleMania match, but at the end of the day, if WWE's gonna cut something, you know, I can't necessarily blame them because the we talk about it all the time, bro. That SmackDown tag division is just, it's lifeless. I mean, so why would you go out of your way to give that a Mania match? So again, it does suck, but at the end of the day, we're talking about a lifeless tag division here. I mean, it is, but even the New Day and the War Raiders, their final push to Mania was a video package. It's kind of just like, what the fuck is that, man? I don't know. It just kind of weak to me. But yeah, I mean, to me, man, I largely enjoyed that main event, that little main event segment that we got. I thought it gave you a glimpse into, Rollins talked a little bit about it in the promo, but maybe a little bit of a glimpse into the future on some things. So I like that, man. I like that, and yeah, I mean it was, it was okay. It was okay, man. It wasn't it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't an NXT takeover go home show, but it did its job, but it was very okay to me.
Yeah, very, very okay. Very like, why is this match happening on the go home show to WrestleMania? A lot of that, and that main event segment, I thought it was good, but the good or badness of that segment is going to me, solely rely on the result at WrestleMania. If it's a result that I'm not a fan of and I don't really like, then I think this segment didn't help it. But it is interesting, and it's intriguing on what they're setting up for these guys at WrestleMania. I've just got really bad feelings about it, and a lot of it, and a part of it is also for me, what someone, what Seth is talking about, is kind of just what is still, what does the winner still get? You get the future, you get, what do you get? How do you get those things? And I really think they're just dancing around that with this match being, for not much tangible things. And I'm very curious to see how they get past that in the actual result to the match.
Gotcha. So yeah, that those are our immediate thoughts on the go home show for Raw for WrestleMania. And yeah, with all of that, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to another edition of NHP, and welcome back to another edition of Unscripted, man. So this is episode 243 of Unscripted. If this is your first time watching and you guys do not know how the show works, every Monday after Monday Night Raw, we are on here live with NHP Unscripted like we are here today, and every Friday at 3 p.m. Central with the news. If you guys did miss this past Friday's edition of the news, you can now find that on all platforms. That is Spotify, Apple Podcast, and if you want to see first, join us right here live on YouTube, 3 p.m. Central on a Friday for the news, man. So, yeah, man, if you guys have not got a chance to pick up some of the official NHP merchandise, you guys can now find this live on the merch shop. That is bonfire.com. Links at the top of the description of this very video. And you can find this beautiful piece of merchandise on that very site, man. So again, link is at the top of the description of this very video, man. Bonfire.com. The next chapter design is available as we speak. So with all of that, if this is your first time watching and you guys do not know who we are here at NHP, I am Johnny, one half of the host of this very show. And as for the other half, we got my man Sir K here. How the hell are you, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just been chilling, man. Big week, WrestleMania week. It's the one we all been waiting for, man. And I'm very excited, man. I love this week. I love the shows this week. Not only from WWE but from us. Love it. So very excited going into this weekend, man. It's gonna be a good week and very excited, man. Very excited. But other than that, just chilling, man. And after Mania, I'm really gonna be lost because it's gonna be post Mania, and I'm also very scared for WWE Summer this year without the European shows, and I'm very interested to see, how they do it this year, man. But overall, very excited for this week for WrestleMania for our shows to pairing with WrestleMania. So very excited, man. I'm doing good. Like Durante always asks, how's life? How's the family? Life's good. Family's good. How is everybody doing in the live chat? How's everyone doing watching the replay? What about you, bro? How are you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Yeah, just chilling, dude. Just chilling, getting ready for what should be a pretty hectic weekend. Should be a pretty hectic weekend going into next week, next Monday. Obviously, we will be here in 1 week's time talking about the Raw after WrestleMania. So hopefully it isn't the WrestleMania 39 Raw after WrestleMania, but uh they would definitely have man, they would definitely have a lot on their plate if it ended up like that, which obviously I don't think it will. But yeah, so we are starting off, like I said, this is the calm before the storm. Well, really the next 2 days, I guess, are the calm before the storm, I guess, of what will be, like I said, what is going to be a pretty hectic WrestleMania weekend. So yeah, just same as every year, man. Same as every year. I'm excited to get the weekend started. Excited to do our thing for you guys and all that good stuff, man. So excited to hopefully pump out some pretty good reviews for you all, man. So you guys know how it
Mhm.
goes. So, as Durante was asked, I'm good. Family's good. What about you, Durante? Logan. There he is. Bell. Everybody here now, and my guys are part of the Replay Mafia. JT, JB. How are you guys doing? And thank you guys, as always, for joining us, man. So, um, good God.
Mhm. Oh, okay. He had to mute himself. He had to fix, the noise cancellation part of it. Sometimes things leak through. OBS has been really weird lately with, mic settings and whatnot. So, damn near half the time we have to go in every episode and like fix something that's just turned off or turned on that isn't supposed. OBS has been so weird lately. Oh, I thought he said he'd be right. Um, yeah, OBS has been so weird lately, and hopefully he's fixing it in a second. Give me 1 second. Okay. Um, hopefully do I sound good, guys? Let me know if I sound good. I think I was a little low, and I had to turn it up. So let me. Oh, there you are.
Okay. All right.
There he is.
Okay, my bad. I did not want that noise coming through. I have a fucking noise gate on this mic, but it picks and chooses when it wants to work. So let me know how I sound. I turned my noise gate up and I'm putting the mic closer to my mouth, so I'm trying to limit those types of noises, but I probably okay. My bad, my bad. I'll put it back down there. All right. Okay. So, my bad. My bad. My bad. All right. Where were we? Okay. Where were we? Ah, here we are. It's that time of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Ah. Ah. Fuck, man. You know, next week we're going to have the Raw after WrestleMania to talk about. And we are going to have to talk about Dynamite before that. So.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
God.
Well, this week we have this week's an interesting episode of Dynamite, right? Because we have the
What?
logical explanation from the Young Bucks.
Oh, it was you could call it an explanation, I guess. Definitely can't call it logical, but
Come on, man. This explanation was logical. There was no plot holes. It was story rich. It what else? I don't know. We're going to find out as we go through this. But before we get to that, this episode of Dynamite that probably happened from buttfuck nowhere. I can't remember where it took place. It opened up. Before we get to the Young Bucks, we have to watch.
Okay.
Well, actually, even before this, we get a promo from Jon Moxley where he was talking about how he doesn't even know he doesn't even recognize who the Young Bucks are anymore. Me neither. So the show opens up match-wise with Jon Moxley versus Shibata.
Okay, and the stove's off. Goddamn.
The stove is the stove is off. I don't even think the stove ever got started. It might have been in that clicking phase, you know.
Yep. You're trying to click on the spark. Yep.
That's 100% where we were. It never got off the ground though. Jon Moxley defeated Shibata. All right. You got any thoughts?
It was Jon Moxley in 2025 versus Shibata. It's exactly what you thought it was.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Well, before Jon Moxley can leave the ring, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, appear for the first time since their dastardly outing at AEW Dynasty, where they sent the crowd home pretty unhappy. They come out there. They have a stare down with Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley leaves. He leaves the ring, and he walks away with Marina Shafir and his briefcase. Yep. Nick Jackson grabs the mic. He tells the crowd to give it up for the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley.
No, I won't.
He then says to give it up for the founding fathers of this company, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. They said they got a couple good reasons why they did what they did. The first being they did it for their friend Hangman. We know you never wanted to see Swerve become that champion again. Matt grabs the mic. He then says, what they did for Moxley is considered a peace offering, and they have no problem with him and his group. He says, when they sat at home, we realized by watching you guys, this company bores us to death. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was my bad.
Yeah, that's us.
Sorry. We realized by watching you guys, we have more in common than you think. Yes, two acts that are further killing the company. He says, we both want to see that locker room rise to the occasion. You guys want AEW to be the best company in the world. You guys want change. or sorry, you guys want to change the world just like
Mm,
us. And I am impressed watching you, John. You successfully killed the company. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
Again,
Oh
it's
my
what we were
god.
writing down, Brad. You
Sorry.
keep
Sorry.
yeah.
Sir K, did you hack into my notes? What's going on here, man?
I think
Ja.
we might, we do share those Google Docs. It might be
Yeah,
the dynamite related one.
it might
You
have
might
been,
be
dude.
reading.
You successfully took over AEW, John. And you even got the world title, John. We couldn't even do that. So Sunday was our elevator pitch to you and the Death Riders for the Death Riders and the Elite to come together as one. Holy shit. All right. Okay. I'll say this. Reason number one.
I understand that one. I'm okay with.
Agreed. Reason number one, they did it for Hangman. Now, a lot of people, uh, I guess were upset about this one, but uh, I mean, that one makes sense. That one makes sense, being that I mean, Hangman and Swerve were somewhat rivals. Maybe they would assume that Hangman,
Yeah,
doesn't want that, but little do they know, they've kind of been warming up to each other, but not really. That they still act like they hate each other, even though they're low key, warming up to each other. And reason number two, took me out of this segment entirely. It took me out of this
oh
fucking
yeah,
segment entirely. So you admit that you fucking sucked while trying to take over the company, even though you did hold well, not all the gold, but you guys did all hold gold at one point. So I mean, I don't know, to call your takeover a to call your takeover a dud because you didn't get the world championship. Your takeover was a dud before you even had any of your guys challenge for the world championship, which their guys challenged for the championship around September ish. But you 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 basically admitted here you trotted these two guys out here to, and I seen a lot of people saying, they could have said they're working in cahoots with the Death Riders. That would have been equally as bad. That they would have been
yeah.
equally as fucking bad because again, you had a group and you have guys that can do this, yet you sought out another group to do it. And why would you go away, leave your guys and say you were scared of the Death Riders?
They
So
were
how
terrified.
so how would that have made any sense for them to be in cahoots and be behind the scenes working with the Death Riders? Here's the fucking problem with the Young Bucks. And honestly, at this point, this is probably why you shouldn't have even brought them back until this Death Rider shit ended. Because
Yeah,
no matter what route you went, whether it was them being in cahoots with the Death Riders or this shit we got, them wanting to make a peace offering with the Death Riders, either that or you were going to have them come back babyface and fight the Death Riders. Those are three options that not only does nobody give a flying fuck about, but those are three options that absolutely make no sense known to man.
no, none of them make sense. You can't make a baby face out of these guys because they tried to take over the company, failed, and left because they realized another group is here doing it better. So you can't come back as baby faces. That's just a slap in the face. You can't be in cahoots because that's just the dumbest thing ever. Just yeah, we're not doing it all so great, so we're just gonna have these guys do it for us. That's equally as dumb, and wanting to join them is equally as dumb. It all sucks. No matter what, bringing these guys back, like he said, while the Death Riders thing is still going on, is just bad. It was bad no matter what.
And then, a lot of people, a lot of the discourse I was seeing too was, well, you should have had the Young Bucks come back and not be associated with all. Thank you. There's number 4. That is ass because they left being scared of the Death Riders. So why? So they would just come back and completely avoid them and do their own thing as if nothing fucking happened before before they left. So excuse me, instead of 3 bad options, there was 4.
They were they were gonna fucking treat Death Riders like CM Punk, try to ignore his fucking existence in the company. Is what it was what
That
that fourth option is. Treat Death Riders as CM Punk.
And that's the thing and that's the fucking thing with storylines in AEW. You constantly see this fan base talking about you should have just dropped it and move on. Do you know how bad that looks? I mean, seriously.
Horrible.
Do you know how fucking horrible that looks to just do something and then carry on like nothing ever fucking happened?
That is
You
a last ditch effort to try to fucking move away from something bad.
Yes, I mean, you are actively just slapping your fans in the fucking face and completely insulting their intelligence. And a lot of those same fans complain about WWE slapping their intelligence in the face and insulting their intelligence for many, many years. Yet, that's what they ask AEW to do. I will never be an advocate for just dropping a storyline and completely acting like nothing ever happened. Because it looks, there's always a way, whether it's just one minute long segment where you can just write something off at the right time. A
Yeah,
minute,
just bring it up. Bring some element of it up and say, yeah, had to move away from this, had to do this, had to do... Explain it.
Exactly. Like again, for example, with like we just seen it with MJF and Jeff Jarrett, but a lot of people were like, just drop this, act like it never happened. They found
Mhm.
a decent point. They found an opening with Jeff Jarrett facing Claudio where he could lose, and then MJF could just say, I told you so, hit him in the fucking forehead, boom, done. Or again,
Move
if you're
on.
ever moving away from a character that you don't want to do, just do a backstage segment, have the fucking guy, said character, crash out, have him walk away, and have that be the write-off. Have him be like, fuck this, I'm done, crash out or whatever. There's always something you can do. There's always something you could do to just quickly write something off if you really want to abort ship. I will never be a fucking advocate for just dropping something to completely insult everybody's intelligence. However,
Literally.
Kenny Omega comes out and man, this is
Oh,
why we bullet point people. Um, Kenny's an all right promo. Kenny's an all right promo. He's a good promo for the most part, man. But holy shit, he lost the plot here, man. I mean, I look, good lord. I'm not saying you got to completely script the man, but Jesus, he should have wrote down some bullet points for himself because this was just
yeah,
poof.
that shit. Like, it is the most, okay, I gotta go out there and say some shit promo if I've ever seen it. Kenny Omega, like you said, he's not a bad promo. A lot of people like to say, oh, Kenny, he's fucking horrible on them.
He's got no
Like, no.
character. Yeah.
Like, he's good when it matters. If he's in a legit program with someone like Osprey or Okada or some real ass shit, he'll be good, no problem.
Yeah.
But when you got bullshit like this, and you just have this man rambling on about fucking whatever the fuck he was talking about, it's horrible, dude. It ends up just being as bad and as just rambly as this was.
Agreed. Kenny Omega says, you guys say you've done all this for your friends. Hangman, Moxley. I don't know when Moxley was ever their friend.
But,
These two are the two geeks trying to be friends with the cool kids. Okay?
yeah,
And the Death Riders
they're
are not the cool kids. It's just an example. Um,
no.
so he says, but you forgot me. Because the last time I remember us meeting, at the height of my diverticulitis, you pushed me off a stretcher. And that was taking me to the hospital. And I actually forgave you guys. Oh, that story's dead right there.
Yeah, better than me.
Um,
Yeah, that way to drop that storyline.
um, I came back to AEW. Or he says, I said when I came back to AEW, this is for my legacy. and the safety of the company, and not for revenge. Okay, let's take a pause right there. We gotta ask you a quick question real quick, Sir K. Am I going insane, or did Kenny Omega return to face off with Okada and hand him the Continental title after the Continental Classic?
Exactly. He
Uh,
like it's setting up the Okada thing. Okada was involved in all that. He's getting his receipt back on Okada.
You literally set up a long-term plan for the receipt, and now you're trying to say that he never came back for the Elite. He came back for one of the guys in the Elite that fucking threw him off the stretcher.
Yeah, he's just gonna say, you know what, that guy, I'm gonna get that receipt. I'm gonna get my lick back on that one, y'all. All right, it's whatever, bruh. Water under the bridge. What? No. That is, oh my god, that is horrible, dude.
So, he says, what are we trying to do here? Bring back the feeling, right? You got,
I'm doing
some
that.
of you are trying. It seems like
Try.
the other ones, their idea of trying is absolutely boring everybody to death. But okay, let me get through the promo. All right, this is
Okay.
just so easily bakeable. I'm sorry.
It really is, dude.
So he says we're trying to bring back the feeling, right? He says, speaking of that, I have a little side story to tell you guys. Back when I was in high school, I used to have this friend. We used to go over to his house to play video games. And he had
Right.
2 Shih Tzus. But the size of the dog, or the type of the dog, does not matter.
Why did you just say it was a Shih
Uh,
Tzu?
he said, he
Okay.
says,
Sorry.
but while we were playing, the dogs would dookie on the carpet.
Dude. You guys are
And
AEW. You bleed. You say fucking shit and bitch all the time. You can't say shit in this promo. You have to say fucking dookie. Alright, my bad. I'm sorry for these interruptions. Go ahead. I can't
oh
help it.
my god, I fucking need an intermission myself. It's fine. Oh, brother. So, he says they would play the game and the dogs would dookie all over the rug. And over time, the dookie would accumulate to the point where he stood up and he said, "Hey man, you want to go over to my place? Why don't you get your lazy asses off the game and take the fucking dog outside?"
What?
What?
What are you?
You're tired of the dog shitting on the fucking rug. Well, take the fucking dog outside so the fucking dog can shit. What?
Buy a fucking dog door or something, bro.
Get a fucking
What?
if you don't want to take the dog outside, get one of those fucking patches of turf for the dog to
Hey,
fucking go in the house.
one of those little fucking grass shit mats you could buy for the fucking dogs. Yeah.
What fucking game were they so locked in playing that they couldn't get up and take the fucking dog outside? They must have been playing like online COD or something.
Had to be, because goddamn.
Well, okay, my bad. My bad. Can't even get through the promo. Okay.
It's so bad.
He says, I compare that to you guys because you guys have let the dookie accumulate, and after a while you can't get the stain out, and you ruin the company. He says, the last time we were here, you guys were tearing up receipts like it's some crazy thing. We all know how you guys live. It was receipts for private jets, the chair you bought for your master bedroom facing the bed, the OnlyFans receipts. But it does not matter, because if it wasn't for the Death Riders, it was because of you two that have almost legitimately killed the company that I gave my life, heart, and soul for. It is very true. He says, the time off has done them wonderfully. Nick, you still look all of the 90 pounds that you were before you left. And Matt, you need to lay off the hot stuff because you're looking as red as Nick's lapels. He says he can go on, but he's just going to, but he's going to come to the middle of the ring, and why don't we just fight? He's looking for a fight.
He just wants to he just wants to fight,
He
man.
just wants to
You know
fucking
what's the
fight.
worst part about that whole promo?
Oh,
In
please tell
probably
me.
about a
There's a
year
lot.
time, probably
Enlighten
about a
me.
year time on
Okay.
TV, they're all gonna be friends again
Oh,
and
you
just
know it.
brush past all this shit. That's
Yeah.
the best part. Man's making fucking tuck chair jokes and OnlyFans, and they're just gonna be homies in like 9 months, probably.
Yeah, probably so. I could believe
Good
it.
Lord, that promo was so
Oh,
bad.
shit.
So he was just rambling on about the most random shit, going back on himself. The dog was this. It doesn't matter what the dog was. He used to dookie all over, and you just did it over, bro. What are you talking about? Just say they fucking stepped in shit. Dude, you could take that fucking 3 minutes he did in a promo and condense it down to 30 seconds. That man was just
Yep.
rambling his ass off, man, and it was horrible. Talking about nothing, making him just embarrassing himself with that one, man. That was just a really fucking awful promo. Awful, awful promo.
Absolutely horrible. It was yeah, it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. So Omega goes to get in the ring. Okada comes out. Swerve makes the save with a steel chair, and these two fist bump as yeah, Kenny. I mean, one would think Omega would be pretty pissed because the last time he seen the Young Bucks, they dumped him on some concrete at the height of his diverticulitis, and he says he forgives him. Swerve actually looked more pissed off. He came out there with a steel chair. He looked more pissed off than Omega did, and they could have legitimately killed Kenny Omega, and he forgave him.
And he's just, it's cool, bruh. It's cool, it's whatever. I forgive you for almost killing me. Okay, alright, okay.
So
Good lord. All this to set up fucking blood and guts and fucking anarchy in the arena. Good lord. Dude, someone mentioned it, and it's very true. Those matches for AEW are at the 20 fucking 17 Vince McMahon yearly Hell in a Cell. It's like, dude, can we just not get it at this point for a year or two, please?
yeah, I feel what you're saying about I feel what you're saying about both of them. Yeah, I definitely
Mhm.
feel the thing is, and they know this, those matches usually end up being some of AEW's best. Oh, at least Anarchy in the Arena. So
Yeah,
I can see why they continue to do that. Blood and Guts,
please take a break.
yeah, it's something that I do think would be better off saved for. I do think would be better off just saved for um what is it?
Bigger feud.
Yeah, just something bigger. But that's the thing. Tony Khan thinks the Death Riders is fucking huge,
He
according to
thinks
what
it's
we read.
great. Mm-hmm.
To me, honestly, man, to me, I don't really care. It's sort of I do like it. To me, it's sort of the
It's
equivalent to
whatever.
WWE doing war games every year. It's like
Mm.
sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes I wish it would sometimes I do wish it would go away, but usually they end up making an okay story out of war games. For AEW, they kind of just randomly throw
Oh.
shit together, but it always does end up being a good match. I would say that's what
Mm-hmm.
differentiates the two. It's obviously it's a very similar thing. It's, oh, around November we got to do war games, or around May we got to have, 8 guys fight in a whole entire arena. What eases people off of WWE usually pieces together a story, whether it's quick or whether it's not. Because again, the one last year was quick as fuck,
Very
and then
quick.
we seen a bunch
Mm.
of random additions like Bronson Reed and the Mystery Man for the Bloodline. But that is what eases people off of it for WWE, I think, because like I said, WWE at least gives the effort to trying to throw something together, with somewhat of a story. But honestly, to me, I don't really care. I will say, I wish they did Blood and Guts on pay-per-view. I think the fact that they do that on
Yeah.
TV is something that makes it feel very a lot smaller. It doesn't really feel like this big grand thing that it should be, like a War Games. We have a whole pay-per-view centered around it. Blood and Guts is just on a random episode of TV. You got to watch it, with mix in with commercials and whatnot. But personally, I don't really care, just because they always end up
Hmm.
being good.
Yeah.
The thing about Vince McMahon's yearly Hell in a Cell was we would get about 3 of them on that same show, and they would all fucking suck. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that
Very true.
that to me, I don't really, I don't really care too much for it. I've actually been waiting to see as soon as they announce the anarchy in the arena. I always love seeing the yearly discourse, because typically those are the same people that like War Games. So
Yeah.
same thing to me. But
I get you.
so Swerve, he says, it is buck hunting season, and he's got a shotgun for 2 EVPs. The more I watch this show, I have a shotgun for my fucking brain.
Mm-hmm.
Pac comes out and attacks him, leading to their match, where Pac got hurt. We went over it a little bit on Friday, but he got hurt on a buckle bomb. It looked like he hurt his ankle, the way he landed. And he went outside of the ring, was attended to by the doctor. He got in to finish the match, but he didn't really take much of any bumps. He didn't really leave his good foot. You could tell it just was planted. So, and he kind of kept the other foot up in the air. And Swerve just quickly hit a swerve stomp and got done with it. So, that was that match. And sucks for Pac, but the match was it was a match. It was yeah,
It was a match indeed.
yeah. So yeah, that was that. That was that. Yeah, Swerve picks up the victory. So wish Pac the best, and I hope we hear an official word on him soon and when he could be
Hopefully.
back. Hangman. Hangman storms into Swerve Strickland's locker room after the commercial break, and he is screaming at Prince Nana. Nana, or he's screaming at Prince Nana. He's telling him he was not trying to help Swerve at all on Sunday. He says he starts the Owen next week, and Swerve better not get involved, or else I am going to put him down.
Mm-hmm.
This is Hangman obviously being very, I guess, self-conscious of what happened, because he didn't know who he was going to hit. It looked like he kind of wanted to hit both of them on Sunday or at Dynasty. Looked like he kind of wanted to hit both of them, but I think what really did it, what put him over the edge to hit Jon Moxley, is the Death Riders. They came out and attacked him, so he ended up hitting Jon Moxley, but it was more than likely just out of rage for the Death Rider attack. But there is a small piece of him, I think, that maybe wanted to help Swerve. He just doesn't want to admit it yet. So Nana says he stands up and he yells for Hangman as Hangman is walking away. He says, "Hanger, I cannot speak for Swerve, but I've wanted to tell you this since last year. I wanted to tell you I regret." Hangman completely went berserk. He told him, "Shut the hell up. Do not say another word. You do not know what that's like." As Nana just kind of stood there and didn't really want to get too much more involved in that. This was my favorite segment out of the show. Lo and fucking behold, it's the Adam Page and Swerve Strickland stuff. This was great. I love this. This is great storyline progression, and yeah, this is story. This is fucking story. What did I just talk about with Anarchy in the Arena and War Games? You put forth a story into something, people are gonna care about it. You put forth a story here with this whole weekly, just weekly updates of Hangman and Swerve and what are these two thinking about each other this week and what's going to happen this week. Put storyline into it, you put care into it. This is what you get. This is my favorite part about Dynamite every week.
Oh, easily every week, man. This was very, very awesome segment. Very interesting, man. And he made Hangman said in there, mentioned Swerve better not interrupt my match, and my inclusion in the Owen.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is gonna get knocked out the Owen. I think it's gonna be a mix of Swerve and unintentionally the Young Bucks. I think the Young Bucks might try an MJF to, what MJF's kind of just did with the Hurt Business. I think Young Bucks are gonna do with Hangman. They're gonna try to help Hangman, and he doesn't want their help. And I think, there's gonna be a whole lot of stuff happening. Obviously we always get, anarchy in the arena, then blood and guts, and those two matches kind of correlate with each other. I'm very curious. I could definitely see a version where Hangman's on the opposing side to Swerve on the first match, and then due to circumstances, he ends up being on the same side as Swerve for the second one. And I'm very interested to see if they do that, or if somehow he's on Swerve's side both times, or just the same side as Swerve both times. Very interested to see how that goes going into those matches.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, that was that. We then get the $400,000 explosive 8-man tag.
Mm.
Dude,
Hey,
go ahead, bro. We all know how you feel about these money stipulations. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
before the fucking match, dude, they air these back-to-back segments for both sides of the match. We're talking about what they were gonna do with the money. I don't even remember what the heel said. I really fucking don't. They Ricochet was trying to like lead the team and they weren't having it and whatever. Babyface side, Will Ospreay was gonna go to Disney World or something. Speedball was gonna fucking do something. I literally, dude, I don't remember any of it because at the end of the day, dude, why the fuck do I care if their characters get money or not? I don't care. I do not care. I care about tangible things on the show I'm watching. Titles, title shots, a beef with this person, a beef with that person. How does that get resolved? How does this friendship get repaired? How does this friendship break? That's the kind of shit I care about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who's making the fucking money, dude. Dude, you all work for Tony Khan. I know you guys have money. You guys, that's the whole reason half you guys work there in the first place. It's because Tony Khan overpays you. I, trust me, I know you guys are already pretty well off, probably. So why do I care that you're facing for $100,000 each? What are you gonna do with the? I don't care. Can you write the show better with $100,000? Can you put some money
Somebody
into
pay
the
for a
show?
writer.
Can someone pay for a writer? Can someone pay for some lighting equipment? Can someone pay to have the AEW production team replaced? Like, why on earth would I care about the money that a guy I'm watching on TV gets? The dumbest reason ever for wrestling, for anything, wrestling TV related this. I don't care. They're doing this for money. They're doing that for money. This person paid this person to beat up this. I don't care in the slightest. There's always the championship, that's, there's always, the better pay that's related to winning a championship. That I never mind people bringing up because that is like a tangible thing
Yeah.
that, okay, they get the title. Not only are they champion, they're the champion, so they get more out of it. Obviously, that I'm okay with. Just getting just a fucking check of 100 grand, I don't fucking care about, and it's just classic Tony Khan. Fucking just need an excuse for a match, doing it for money. That's all Tony Khan can ever think of, and that tells a lot about Tony Khan.
Yeah, and it's not like these guys are going out there shooting on each other anyway to try to see who can
Yeah.
get the fucking 400,000. We all know if this obviously is a real stipulation, which it's probably not, Tony Khan chooses who gets the money anyway. So I don't know, man, but no, I thought the same thing as soon as they announced it. I obviously know this is a topic Sir K loves to talk about, so yeah, this money we get stipulation match for money. So they did promos all talking about what they're gonna spend it on, and then obviously the baby faces ended up winning. It was like Ricochet, Beast Mordos, and who was the other team? Crew? Was it Crew?
Yeah, it was Crew. It was Dork and Dork. It's fucking. It's Leo Rush and the other guy.
Action already. Let me
There you
see.
go. I was about to call him Dante Martin. Good lord. Fucking A.
Dante
And the jobbers
Martin.
are just fucking mixing. They're just mixing a blender at this point, man.
Let
Good
me
God, yeah. I
let
think
me
yeah, it was
see.
Beast Mortals, Ricochet, and the Crew. That was the heels, and the baby faces was Osprey, Briscoe,
Kevin
fucking
Knight and
Kevin
Speedball.
Knight. Yep, yeah.
Let me
The
see.
$400,000 explosive 8-man tag. Good lord.
This is killing me. I finally am remembering to look this up. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Leo Rush and Action Andretti are called Crew
Okay.
because it stands for crazy, ruthless, and unhinged, reflecting their intense and aggressive wrestling personas in All Elite Wrestling. They adopted the name after turning heel and splitting from Top Flight, emphasizing their new, unapologetic attitude.
Apologetic, you're losers. You think with that, name and attitude, you do anything to win. You guys are fucking losers.
Crazy, ruthless, and unhinged, is it? Wow.
Crazy, ruthless, unhinged.
That's what Tony
That's what
Khan is.
Dynamite makes me. Good lord.
Man,
Oh,
that
ass
was that.
ass.
That was that. A match that again, it's for money. Who gives a shit? This is the same concept that killed any sort of hype behind Butcher and Blade in the early days of AEW. Was the only character you gave them is they're mercenaries and all they care about is doing this for money. How am I supposed to have a personal connection with you? And the basis of your character is that you have no character, you just care about money.
Thanks.
Nice. That's really,
Thanks.
you're
Thanks.
really giving me a lot to sink my teeth into there. It's like trying to sink my teeth into a fucking brick.
Literally.
Ajax, appreciate the comment, bro. I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy for you.
Truly.
Yes, you will. I often say this to myself, um, especially lately. You will always end up better than your situation, bro. You will always end up better than your
Exactly.
situation, and you got to remember that. And it's hard. It's fucking hard. But you got to remember that. But no, I definitely understand, man. I definitely understand. Early 2023, my good friend of mine got me going to the gym and working out and working on myself,
Mhm.
and it completely changed. It completely I tell him all the time. I don't even want to say changed my life, bro. It completely saved my life. Um,
I
so
get you.
so that's awesome. Thank you for sharing the story, bro. Thank you for sharing the story. I appreciate that, and I'm happy for you, bro. I'm happy for you.
Most definitely, man.
So MJF. MJF, he interrupts the Hurt Syndicate to just be rejected again, during their championship celebration. He was trying to like stand with them and just trying to fit in with the cool kids, if you will. And none of them were having it. They were then backstage, and MVP told MJF by himself, we are businessmen, or they are businessmen. So, what's the number one thing about business? Max. You have to find your business consumer and give them what they want. So I'm assuming we will start to see more of this go into television, and MJF, I guess, just sorting to please the Hurt Syndicate, man. So yeah, more development on that, and we shall see where that goes.
Definitely seeing where that goes. I didn't catch it, but apparently lately with this whole MJF stuff, there's been like mentions. They keep saying, the phrase "the pinnacle." I guess I haven't caught it, but people have said that they've noticed that. And if you just turned MJF, FTR heel, for the love of God, please do not bring that group back. But I wouldn't be surprised. So that's actually very scary and very intrigued to see how this goes, but I hope it does not go in that direction.
MJF, do you remember that promo with Adam Copeland where FTR even teased going after the Hurt Syndicate?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like, Dax was in the middle of saying, he was like, we're going to go after the tag titles, Hurt Syndicate. And then Cash cut him off and was like, no, there's still more in rated FTR. It was a couple weeks ago. Uh,
Yeah.
I have seen that, and good God, let's run back a group that
Oh,
Tony Khan
man.
couldn't book in the fucking first place. Let's run it back again. Nice.
Let's run. Yeah, that's like fucking WWC, man. Let's run back Retribution, dude. Let's try this shit again. Man,
Yeah.
we could do it again this time. Like, please, please
S-
do not attempt this.
So
Yeah.
what do we get out of that? We get FTR losing, or we get FTR holding the tag team championships for what, the 80th time in AEW?
And it's just a heel on heel faction face
Yeah.
off? Like, what does that do for anybody?
Uh,
Nothing.
IDK. So uh Chris Statlander defeat Thunder Rosa in the Open to the Owen. And yeah, Stat is going on to face the winner of Jamie Hayter and whoever Jamie Hayter is facing. Probably Jamie Hayter. So yeah.
We'll see how it goes. They've kind of been hyping up Stat more than anybody else in this thing, so I hope it is Jamie Hayter. I just really want that match. You have so much story you could tell with that match.
Oh my god, yeah. Absolutely. So um you have Chris Jericho. He does an episode of TV Time with the Learning Tree, as he says he is not mad. He is just disappointed, as he
Mm.
slams a monitor, and he says it over and over and over and over again. He smacks the monitor with his bat, as he just keeps saying, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And he walks off. He says he needs to go away, and he walks off. So Fozzy is going on tour, and that is where Jericho will be. So while Fozzy is on tour, hopefully he comes back and either is done with this learning tree stuff, and this was the final glimpse of the learning tree, or he comes back and just quickly wraps this whole thing up. So yeah.
Most definitely, I hope so. Like you said, he's going on tour, and whenever he gets back, hopefully, if it's not already the end, you fast track the end to this shit, man, because it's long overdue for this rhetoric to end.
Yep. 100%. The Ops, Samoa Joe and Hook, defeated Wheeler, Yuta, and Claudio with a red rum by Hook to Yuta. The Death Riders come out afterwards. They attack the Ops. They hit a neutralizer to Hook on a chair. Joe cuts a fiery promo calling the Death Riders out for the Trios Championships, which we are getting next week in the form of Hook, Joe, and Shibata versus Yuta, Claudio, and John Moxley.
Yep, they're just gonna keep the titles on the Death Riders. They're just freebirding
Probably.
it, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone comes in to help the Death Riders on that match and enjoys them. It isn't this upcoming week? Isn't that the same episode that the wild card
Yes.
um Yep, I could see that being Jack Perry, obviously, and then later in the night, I could see him going to help that situation. I very much wouldn't be shocked at that.
Kill me.
Fucking kill me. Oh, Jack Perry. Oh, that shit is gonna be hilarious when his music hits. That fucking Beethoven shit. Was he still coming out to that shit before he left?
He had that like grungy theme song.
Okay, okay. I
Thank
thought he did
God.
change it. That shit was horrible.
That shit was horrible, man. That original heel Jack Perry. Oh, that stuff was bad, bro. That was fucking god awful. Um, yeah.
Wonder if he's
So,
gonna
hmm,
wonder if he's gonna come back with the short bus, and if that's gonna be like the Death Rider bus now.
hopefully not.
Definitely
Hope.
fits the group.
Oh man, maybe it'll be armored to protect all the gold in there.
Yeah,
An armored
that
short
would be
bus.
that is some shit they would do with that shit. Let's armor it. Let's like apocalypse it.
Yep.
Let's put fucking like chain link fences on the windows and shit.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
wouldn't be fucking shocked.
There you go, man. Um, yeah, so that was AEW Dynamite. I also seen there was some teasing for Don Callis calling out anybody to put in their application to join the Don Callis family. What is this
I
fucking
would,
Walmart? What am I
yeah,
working at the fucking what? I mean, what am I? Am I working at the local BP? I gotta
yeah.
I gotta put my app in. What?
Can I go? I could go check his LinkedIn and fucking apply through that shit. Like, what happened to all your guys? You said you had the best faction of guys, young guys on Earth, and this and where are they? Why do you want more? You have Takeshita for some reason. You have him, and you want more? What? Okay, we'll see where that fucking shit goes. Maybe Jack Perry chooses them. Ugh. I feel
Um.
bad for Jack at this point. No matter what he's coming back to, it's gonna be ass.
Well, here's the thing, man. I see a lot of people saying. I've been seeing a lot of people thinking that this could be Josh Alexander.
I could see that.
W-
That's
Um.
gonna be what they do with him.
Which you already have a like you just mentioned. You already have a pretty stacked duo of Kyle
Hmm.
Fletcher and Takeshita.
Don't forget the other two.
So yeah, they are not in the stacked column. Those those are like the group throwaways. But you got it would be very interesting to see how you juggle having
Yeah,
Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Josh Alexander. I mean, he would fit if you wanted to bring him in as a heel, but like I don't know if I would just hope they would put importance on him. That would be my only thing.
yeah. I hope so, man. I hope so, because that's gonna be a very single stacked group, and
Yeah.
those can be very rocky to actually get right,
Yeah,
especially under Tony Khan.
100%. And look at what they did for a while with Takeshita. You know,
They were
he
doing
just
nothing.
completely felt like a secondary to Kyle Fletcher. You know,
Oh yeah.
they seriously lack the ability to put focus on both guys at once, even though Takeshita was a champion at that point. He was the international champion, so I
You literally had the free excuse of time for the champion to do his thing and then build up Kyle Fletcher to do his own thing, and they just didn't do that. They just focused on Kyle Fletcher.
yep.
It's like, okay.
So
Uh,
yeah, that was AEW Dynamite this week, man. And now for an official word from the good, great people over
mhm.
at W Energy, man. W Energy, the official sponsor of NHP, man. An energy drink loaded with vitamins and nootropics, formulated to improve focus without getting the jitters. W Energy is a clean formula, sugar free, 0 calorie, free from fillers and artificial colorings, with 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving. You can get your W Energy products today with the link below and code NHP at checkout to save yourselves 10% on your next W purchase. As always, a shout out to the great people over at W Energy, the official sponsor of the Notorious Heels podcast.
Truly, always got to shout out W, man. Whether workout, whatever you need the energy for, man. It's gonna be a long weekend of just a whole lot in WrestleMania for show after show. I think the Hall of Fame is like at 1 in the morning. If you want to watch the Hall of Fame and you want to be awake for the Hall of Fame, W, try W, man. It'll taste good and it'll keep you up all weekend, man.
There you go, man. There you go. So, did you say the Hall of Fame is at 1 in the morning?
Something like that for I think for certain time zones, yeah, because it's 2 hours after SmackDown, and I guess SmackDown is on at the normal time on Friday.
Oh,
So yeah, if it ends at 10, it should be. I think it's
dude,
12 for us,
it's on at
and then like
midnight.
one in. Yep,
What?
yep. Ugh, it's horrible. It's fucking
There's
horrible, dude.
there is no way NXT people can show up to that show. There's no way.
There's no, dude. Annex those that is the most true soldier shit I've ever seen it, bro. You have to be at the arena or be at whatever convention hall they're doing the fucking Hall of Fame in, sit there and for people to yap for fucking 2.5, 3 hours, go home, get no sleep, wake up fucking 2 hours later, drive to the arena, fucking get ready, put on a show, and probably have to stay up the whole rest of the night for WrestleMania.
Holy
Fuck
shit.
that. They're gonna need a whole lot of W, especially if you're actually in NXT, dude.
I was
Holy hell.
I was gonna
You would
say
just be I
our
would just be
our our boy Obafemi, man, he's gonna need some W with the rest of that fucking roster, like
good
Dark
lord.
State.
Oh, good God, fucking Dark State. But yeah, fucking 12 midnight for the fucking Hall of Fame, dude.
Who's in the main
Gotta love
event of
it.
that show? Oh, it's Oba,
Oh, it's
Trick, and Javon. All
yeah,
three of those guys are going to have to get up early as fuck and then sit there for about 2.5 hours on top of the time that they've already been at the arena to close that show. Oh my,
oh, and
and then they probably have to then go to Allegiant Stadium to watch
yep,
WrestleMania and be there
yeah.
for WrestleMania. Oh my god.
Because obviously they're gonna want them to like be a part of the backstage environment. You know
You put on a good
WWE.
face, yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta fucking perk
Oh,
up in your suit, back there shaking, dude. I'd be shaking Triple H's hand with no energy, bro.
I was gonna say that.
Looks like Trips.
I was gonna say that would be the softest handshake known to man. I'd be so tired. I probably couldn't even squeeze my fucking hand. Um,
I walk
yeah,
up to fucking Triple H. What's up, back pie? Triple, my bad, Triple H.
man, because I would assume, maybe if you open that show, you would at least they would maybe at least let you leave early to, maybe take a little nap or
Yep.
something. But before you gotta shoot over to the arena, because oh my god, bro, they got to be so juiced up off uh just energy drinks. It's crazy.
Oh, dude, I'd be fourth cup down, bro. Cause god damn.
There's just no way, dude. There's just no way. Um,
What's up,
Crazy.
Hunter?
Hey, my man, what up, bro? How you doing? All right, SmackDown. SmackDown. 1 in the morning Eastern. That is just wild, man. That's wild. Um, well, WWE, if you wouldn't have signed a 5-year deal with USA, you guys could have went over to Netflix and chose your own start time for SmackDown as well.
Yeah.
So,
Or you could just done it on Thursday or some shit.
yep.
Okay.
Or you could have done it, I don't know, before SmackDown.
Or
Hmm.
you could have done the NXT pay-per-view on like Thursday, and then before night one, you could have done Hall of Fame or something. Something.
Man. Um, my God, man. My God. So, SmackDown was pretty it was SmackDown. I guess that's the only
Yeah.
it's the only way to put it. It was SmackDown. It was SmackDown. Yeah, I mean nothing honestly, man, nothing too much other than a few things. First and foremost, Roxanne Perez. Everybody's been wondering what's up with Roxanne Perez. Well, she is being used as the hype match for Tiffany and Charlotte Flair. She faced Tiffany here to get Tiffany a win going into WrestleMania. So much for
Yeah.
Roxanne getting her WrestleMania moment.
Oh yeah, man. She could have faced a four horsewoman, but might as well just lose to a champion, right before the pay-per-view for no reason.
Eh, yeah. Eh, I don't know. I don't know, man. Well, speaking of the four horsewomen, everybody wanted her to face Bailey and Lyra run through an entire tag team gauntlet by themselves, finally defeating the Secret Hervis to get themselves the women's tag team title match at WrestleMania. So, yeah, Bailey and Lyra are they're getting the Mania match. They are getting the Mania match. Um yeah, they're getting the Mania match for the women's tag team championships. Happy to see both of them make the card. I just think
Yeah.
Lyra, obvious. I don't even know why the women's tag team championships are being defended on the show. Over the actual tag team, the other actual SmackDown tag team titles, but um, it is what it is. I mean, I'm happy that Lyra and Bailey and Liv are on the card, but I mean, talk about something that lacks importance.
It's like, dude, you could have just done a one-on-one with someone here for one of the women's mid-card titles and called it a day, and you're just not doing any of that. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, me neither. That makes two of us. So Cody Rhodes cut a promo where he had all the old WWE championships on a table, except for two of them. Except for two of them. He did not have the AJ belt from 2016. He also did not have the Daniel Bryan WWE championship from 2014. So, um
Yeah.
minus those two, he had all the belts. He was throwing out innuendos about beating John Cena during his final run and all the same stuff we've heard already. It's just Cody trying to shoulder this build while John Cena is out. So yeah, kind of sucks, but they're trying to make do
Yeah.
with what they have, which they don't have much to work with. So yeah.
The segment was literally just Cody trying, like you said, to shoulder the episodes that Cena is not here for. Thankfully, he's here this week for the go home episode. Thank God. But yeah, it was basically just, well, we need a way to do something. So they got all the titles out there and just did a little segment with that, man. At least it had that element that made it cool. That spinner belt looks amazing
Oh my god.
with the modern cameras, dude. Good lord, that title is beautiful. And yeah, it was a simple little segment. You can, just Cody doing what he can with what he has, which was no John Cena that week.
Yeah, yes, the man, that spinner. Golly, that looked beautiful, bro. That looked fucking beautiful, man.
Oh, it really does, man.
Yeah, so when's the last time we seen that thing? Well, yeah, probably I guess when the Rock put it away, right? Yeah. Damn.
I think there might have been a segment where it physically came up. I thought I remember something like that, but I could just be thinking of something else, man. But
Hmm.
either way, it looks amazing. And a lot of people say that it wasn't, the original. That was just like a fucking, replica off the website, like they did with the fucking winged eagle. Very interested to see where that actual original is. I'm sure it's just locked away in their vault. You think they
Oh,
would bring it out?
I'm sure it's in WWE headquarters. I think they actually have a wall of all the old titles. So,
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
um, yeah, this is the greatest WWE championship of all time. in my humble opinion.
I respect it. I respect it. Uh,
What is your favorite of all time? I know for sure I know what your favorite world heavyweight title is. It's a very
yeah.
very
It's ve-
respectable option. I think it's a lot of people's.
yeah. Usually I would go with Big Gold, but that wasn't in this lineup because this was WWE Championship lineup. Out of those, man, it's tough. Um, damn, I really, Spinner is really nice. Damn, maybe, maybe Winged Eagle. Maybe a little generic, but I might say Winged Eagle. But that might be
It's
my answer.
it's a popular
Generic
option
for a
for a
reason.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that might be my go-to if I'm being honest.
Okay. All right. That's yeah, I mean that's a respectable option for sure. Um let me think. Oh, um man. Well, what the fuck was I going to say? Oh, yes, that spinner belt, dude. One day,
Ooh,
by the grace of
beautiful.
God, I will have that in my possession and that will be
Oh yeah.
displayed right on top of my display cases. I don't know when, but one day it will happen. I can promise you
Exactly.
that. Um the big thing on SmackDown that's got everybody wondering, everyone talking,
Okay.
is Randy Orton. Going into this week, a lot of things being talked about was what is Randy Orton going to do at Mania? What does Randy Orton have in store? Who will Randy Orton face? What will his match be? Well, he comes out there, he takes a jab at Nick Aldis that I thought was very interesting. He said, "If you don't give me a match, then I am going to have to apologize to Mickey James for what I'm going to do." Nick Aldis gets very
Mm.
pissed. I thought we were trending in the direction of Aldis and Randy Orton because, that's just where it looked like it was going. Then we hear the music of Solo Sokoa as it sort of emerges that Solo Sokoa is a possible contender for Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Now, look, I, you know, I think Nick Aldis is the better option. I think that's an easy option. You can slot in there. He's given him a couple RKOs at this point. I think Nick Aldis is the way to go. In saying
Mhm.
that, Solo doesn't necessarily, upset me too much because at the end of the
No,
day, I did not want to see Solo snubbed from WrestleMania just because of the character work that he did last year. I thought was very made him deserving of a Mania spot. But who the fuck wants to see Solo Sokoa versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania? Um, I don't know. I again, it's not the end of the world to me because, like I said, I didn't want to see Solo just miss the show. Um, but how do you not go with Nick Aldis? I feel like that's just the like just such a no brainer to me at least.
yeah,
But how did you feel about the, I guess the way it's looking, that Solo could be the guy to face Randy Orton, unless they're just doing it to throw us off.
they could be doing it to throw us off, and maybe they can make it work with like I don't remember if those two matches, if the Fatu match and then the Randy Orton match is going to be on the same night,
No.
but maybe they could do some. Oh, see, that's the thing. If it was on the same night, you could have done something where maybe Solo has Tama, more focus on helping Jacob
Mhm.
win the title, and that leaves, him Solo vulnerable and he loses. That's one of the reasons he's, not happy with Jacob or something. You could have done, a little, just, something with that, man. But if they're not on the same night, then, that idea goes completely out the window. In the match and again, like you said, I actually really want Solo to get a match at this year's WrestleMania. I think he does deserve it. But Randy Orton, man, that that does not sound like a match I want to watch. I want Solo on the show. I want Randy on the show still, but those two together, I don't think is gonna produce greatness. In the ring, especially with a match that at the end of the day is an emergency no build match. Out of all that, the match doesn't look like you do one of those situations to where the match itself is gonna bang to be like, okay, no build, obviously. It was an emergency match, but the match banged. And I love Solo. And I love Randy. But those two against each other in the ring is not, if I'm a betting man, probably is not gonna bang. I'm just being honest. Um, so it's
Yeah.
very weird. I definitely would have preferred all this. I think all this was just a no-brainer. You know, all this has history with Cody. Randy has history with Cody. You got all that there. They have history. You got something there. And that would have been really awesome. And you're not going with that is kind of confusing to me. And a lot of this fucking Mania build and setup confused me. I still probably would have done Fatu versus Solo, and you wouldn't have this problem where Solo doesn't have a match at WrestleMania. So I think it's a bigger problem with WrestleMania this year that this ended up getting resulted from. But it is what it is, and again, I'm glad Solo is looks to be on the show, but that
Mhm.
match does not excite me in the slightest.
No, no, not at all. I can't say I'm getting butterflies in my stomach thinking about Randy Orton and Solo Sikoa having a match at WrestleMania. But
Like,
mhm,
what's that one year? Was it the year that Finn and Bray were out with like a sickness and AJ replaced one of them in their matches? I no,
that was
it was
TLC 2017.
that was TLC where it was going to be Finn versus
The Demon versus
ooh,
Sister Abigail.
yeah, and Bray couldn't make it,
Hmm.
so they made it the AJ match, and that ended up banging because that's a match that's just gonna hit. There was no story, and it was an emergency match, but
Yeah.
it's gonna hit.
Yes.
This is not in that same league.
No.
I I like Solo and I like Randy, but dude, that match is gonna happen. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, yeah, man. That is. Yeah, and then that's a great point you bring up too. Is if you're gonna throw an emergency match in there, you have no story. So the only you gotta Tony Khan this joint at this point.
Yeah,
You just gotta throw up a graphic that's gonna make
fire
people
ass shit.
say that this is gonna cook. You throw up
Yeah,
Solo and Randy, you just actively turn the oven off, bro. I mean, you pulled the plug on the stove. I mean, it is you turn the gas off, bro. I mean, it's just it's over. Um,
at this point, dude, you should have called like Ricky Starks for a main roster one off for now, and done some fire or something.
yeah.
You at NXT, I would have just did like you said, hit a Tony Khan and just hit a fucking graphic for a banger match.
Yeah, call up Joe Hendry, whoever the fuck you got to call up. Just throw up some random shit. I'm sure there's somebody missing from the card that'll make a better match than Solo Sikoa. Um, so I don't know. Call up Lance Hawaii at some point to see if he's gonna make it or not. So I don't I don't know. So I don't know what you got to do, but yeah, I don't know how people are gonna react to that if that ends up being the match. Hopefully, it's just to throw us off from an Aldis match because again, at this point, man, again, I didn't want to see Solo, necessarily miss Mania, but Randy Orton is not what I had in mind. So,
It
um,
does not sound fun.
no, not at all. And for the love of God, these guys got to move brands. Like somebody the this whole
Hmm.
circle. I mean, Solo's been battling these guys since after Mania last year. You know what I mean? And he's
Yep.
still dabbling around with L.A. Knight, Randy Orton, and all these guys. It's just up until a couple months ago, Cody and Roman. Like we just gotta, man. These rosters need freshen up. So yeah, so that was pretty much everything for SmackDown. That was pretty much everything for SmackDown, man. And now, moving us on here to Monday Night Raw. This took place from Sacktown, Sacramento, California. And this is your go home show to
Hmm.
WrestleMania. The show opens up with Gunther Show opens up with Gunther.
Mhm.
Michael Cole is trying to ask Gunther what is going through his mind, and he rips the mic from him. So Cole gets out of the ring, and it just turns into a promo. Gunther says he's the greatest gift this company has ever got. He says, screw all of you, screw anyone who stands by Jay. He says he urges Jay to go into WrestleMania with his chest out, because I will put you down for the 4th consecutive time. He says when he bloodied Jimmy, everyone kept saying he's out of control. He says to Jay, little do you know, I was in full control. Wow. He says Jay better be thanking the Lord that I wasn't out of control, because if I wasn't, you both would have drowned in your brother's blood. He says, I cannot wait to call my mother and tell her that I beat Jey Uso and am still your world heavyweight champion. He throws the mic down on the mat.
Mm.
It was it was it was a good promo. It was a good promo, man. I mean, like I said, it started off kind of cookie cutter. Started off a little cookie cutter for me. It was kind of just, I'm the greatest gift to this company, and I'm going to put you down. Once he kind of started talking about Jimmy, and how he started talking about how, you know, they're saying he was out of control, but he was in full control. He knew exactly what he was doing. It did pick up towards the end for me, and I did like it. I don't know why they did 2 separate segments with Jay and Gunther. I don't know why they didn't fuse both of their segments together and just have Jay come out and stand on the announce table and look at Gunther exactly what they did later in the night, especially because that's sort of a Gunther move to stand on the announce table, so I feel like that maybe would have gotten his psyche a little bit. But
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't just merge those 2 segments. I thought but I mean, it was what it was, and it was it was pretty good. Like I said, it started off very, very cookie cutter, I thought, but again, as he started talking about, you know, Jimmy and stuff, I did find myself enjoying the promo a little bit more.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. It was good. I liked, you mentioned it earlier. I liked his like energy and his cadence during the promo. I thought that was really cool to see. Um, First half was kind of basic. Second half was pretty cool. I overall like it. And yeah, it was a good, solid, entertaining Gunther promo, and just get you excited for the match, dude. And I'm very intrigued to see how this match goes. I think a lot of people do want Gunther to win, so there might be a chance, but overall, we all know Gunther's gonna lose, man. But um, very interesting that the way they're setting this up, man. I would really love for Gunther to win at WrestleMania. I think that would be really cool, especially also with another heel in John Cena winning. I think you could have a really you know sad quote unquote way to end a lot of WrestleMania, and I think that could be a good thing this year. For the characters, but I think Jay will win, man. But yeah, the Gunther stuff was bad. I liked it. I liked his cadence. I liked his energy during the promo. And like you said, I don't know why they didn't combine them. I don't know why they probably didn't combine them to, span the runtime more. This is the go home show to WrestleMania. I don't think you should have to need to, pad your runtime when you don't even have certain champions
Mhm.
physically on the show. So that's a mystery to me, man. But either way, I thought it was a good open.
Definitely. Definitely. So that was that. Bailey defeated Liv Morgan. Uh, all right. Liv went for Oblivion, and Lyra held Bailey's waist, so Liv could not hit the move, which led Bailey to run at her for the roll up. and get the victory. So Bailey defeats Liv Morgan. What are they on Sunday? So 6 days before their match at WrestleMania, as that I am sure that this tells you who the winner is. I'm sure Liv and Raquel will be retaining at
Oh
WrestleMania.
yeah.
So yeah,
I I can tell you exactly how the match is gonna end and how it's exactly gonna build to their match at Evolution with Bailey versus fucking Lyra. It's pretty obvious, man. Because at this point, I think there was like a Becky interview where she was talking about how she's not wrestling at the moment. So I don't know when the fuck we're getting Becky Lynch back. But now at this point, I think the Evolution match is gonna be um Bailey versus Lyra. So very obvious to see they're setting that up.
could see it. I don't know, man. I'm still sticking to the Becky and Lyra. I feel
Oh,
Becky is
but
not being 100% honest, but I honestly think for Evolution, at least right now, I'm still in the mindset of that's where we end up getting our Roxanne and Bailey match. So
hopefully, if that's still a thing.
yeah, hopefully. But who knows? Who knows at this point? They still have yet to even announce Evolution. At this point, they're probably going to announce it at Mania.
I wouldn't
So
doubt it. Yeah.
the match that everyone wanted to see on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what are they on? They might be on night. Yeah, they are on night one. The match that everyone wanted to see 5 days before WrestleMania: Rey Mysterio versus Julius Creed. Okay.
All right, I guess.
some of I don't know, the match decisions on this show are minus a
Fuck.
couple. These first two, at least, man. I mean, are what the fuck? Who
This
asked
is the
for
go.
this? Yeah.
This is the WrestleMania Go Home Show, and you're putting Mysterio versus Julius Creed. What?
We get an interference from Grande Americano. He gets kicked off the apron while trying to interfere. Julius then gets hung up on the second rope for a 619 and the victory. So defeats Rey Mysterio defeats Julius Creed here as Grande Americano comes and lays him out after the match. Yeah, 5 days before their Mania match, Grande gets the upper hand on Rey Mysterio. So this was this, and oh Lord, excuse me. And this is how we're looking 5 days before WrestleMania, man. So Chad Gable gets the upper hand, as I'm sure Rey Mysterio is going to probably win at WrestleMania and unmask Grande Americano. I don't know
That
why
is
Rey
exact.
Mysterio needs another WrestleMania win, but okay.
That man's coping it up lately. But that's exactly what's gonna happen at the Mania match. Rey Mysterio who's gonna win. He's gonna take the mask off. He's gonna bring over jail Chad Gable. Oh my God, it was Chad Gable. And then God knows where they go from there. I can
Yeah,
only you can only fear.
yeah, that that I don't know. That I do not know,
Yeah.
man. But um AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross. This was one of the better things in terms of
Mm-hmm.
in-ring on the show. We got to see the OG entrance from Karrion Kross. Oh, not to mention, going back to this Rey Mysterio stuff real quick.
Well,
Why after most of these matches, when the person won, Michael Cole goes, like for example, he did it here with Rey Mysterio. Rey
well,
Mysterio wins the match, and Michael Cole goes, Rey's going to WrestleMania.
that-
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
going to WrestleMania anyway.
Unless he
He
got
had a
shoot
match.
injured, he was going to WrestleMania anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
so if he lost here to Julius Creed, would you have still said that? Would you have still said,
probably.
Rey's going to WrestleMania? I mean, what
That's
was he not going to WrestleMania if he didn't win this match? I mean,
like it's WrestleMania. You don't gotta beat it in my head. I fucking know it's a WrestleMania week.
yeah,
I mean, if you put on a little more of an exciting show, it probably would have helped. But Man, okay, he's going to WrestleMania. I thought that was already confirmed.
I, I thought so too. He did the same thing with AJ Styles. AJ wins, and he's like, AJ is going to WrestleMania against Logan Paul. Like, yeah, I mean, yes, we know that. So if Karrion Kross won, would Karrion Kross have gone to WrestleMania to face Logan Paul?
Literally, like, what?
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, AJ Styles defeated Karrion Kross with a phenomenal forearm. As like I was mentioning, we got to see the OG Karrion Kross entrance, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool, man. Yeah, always good
I
to
like how they
see. Always good to see Cross. What were you saying?
definitely good to see him, and I like how they mention on like on everything, with the programming this week that Karrion Cross is bringing all this stuff back to get his old vibe back and get that feeling back in himself. I actually really like how they mention that on the commentary and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, and I like what they've been doing with Cross, and I like that they're finally picking it up with Karrion Cross. Man, he's been doing really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Logan Paul. He comes out to cut a promo and then he starts playing a video package. Odd choice. Um so
Realized halfway through, like, oh wait, this man can't cut a promo. Tell him to hit a video package.
he well, he's better at working the crowd heel than Charlotte Flair, the fucking 10-year veteran. Uh,
She's working the crowd baby face. That's the fucking problem.
uh,
That's the
Why the fuck
problem.
is she working? Come on, bro.
That's the fucking problem with Charlotte, man.
But see,
But yeah,
the thing is too, on SmackDown, they like didn't even have her speak. Like, are
Eh,
you guys still trying to like
yeah,
hold on to this? Like, she's not a
yeah.
fucking baby face.
Back to SmackDown.
Uh-huh.
Why did they have Charlotte attack Tiffany before the show, and both were still on the show like nothing happened?
Uh,
What was the point of that? I thought when I saw the video of the attack, I was like, oh wow, they're just not gonna do anything this week with these two, and they were just both on the show like normal. I was like, what the fuck was the point of the pre-episode attack? What? Uh,
who knows?
so,
Who
no,
knows?
probably
Um.
protecting you guys.
So, uh, AJ tells Logan Paul to come to the ring and they can start WrestleMania early. Karrion Kross
Mhm.
hops in the ring, goes for a sneak attack on Styles. Styles then jumps in. My bad. Styles turns his attention towards Cross, and he turns around to a titanium fist by Logan Paul. Logan Paul then
Mhm.
hits AJ with the pulverizer to lay AJ Styles out on the go home show here to WrestleMania, as Styles is going to WrestleMania. But
No way.
first, he gets hit with a pulverizer. So that is you could say what you want about Logan Paul, man. That is a pretty fucking
No
cool
way.
finisher.
It is a really cool finisher. That finisher. I'm scared to see it be hit on people that aren't AJ like sellers.
Yeah.
That's my one problem with the move. Like debuted against AJ is genius. AJ, he can make any move look good. It's AJ
Mm-hmm.
Styles. But like certain people aren't good at selling those type of finishers, so I'm very intrigued to see how they might, protect that in the future. But
I
it's
don't.
it's amazing looking finisher nonetheless.
Absolutely. I don't know how he's gonna hit that on a bigger guy. Imagine him trying to hit that
Yeah.
on like Karrion Kross,
Yeah, how are you gonna try to hit that on Karrion Cross, Roman Reigns?
Bronson
You know what I
Reed.
mean? Exactly. Like, you can. You literally can. So those type of finishers are always, scary to have as your like main finisher because you can't just do that to everybody.
Yeah,
So hopefully, I mean, obviously they're lucky it's AJ first, and that's probably why they're debuting it now.
for sure.
But hopefully he finds a better like secondary finisher he could back up use.
For sure. For sure. Maybe it's gonna be the titanium fist, the
I
knockout
fucking hope
punch.
not.
Um,
Just got the WND.
better looking, but yeah, same idea.
Yeah,
At least Logan
same
Paul's got
thing.
a bit of a swing on his.
And at least, they have the whole titanium hand bullshit that
Yeah.
they could say with it, I guess. But
Big Show
even
dead
then,
ass just shook his hand and then just punched you normally.
just punched you in the forehead normally. Like,
So,
uh, boy.
we got match video packages for War Raiders and New Day. And then we also got another one for, excuse me, Io, Bianca, and Rhea Ripley.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't remember EOs. I remember Rhea and Bianca's. I don't remember EOs. I was gonna ask you if they actually had
They
one for
did.
EO.
They did.
Okay, I just missed that one. Okay, okay, that's good though. But
Yeah.
why the fuck were they not physically on the show?
I, I'm lost. I don't know.
Like they could easily made this like a three-way satellite segment in the back or something. Something. I
For
mean, the
sure.
last
Or
satellite segment kind of got out of hand, but hopefully this one is it's three professional adults with
I was
this
gonna
one.
say, I
Yeah,
think these three women like each other.
exactly. So I would have done something like that instead, something live and like and something. This is what you fucking played during your fucking 3.5 hour fucking pre-show.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so we got um Jay or actually what I was just talking about. You didn't have a woman with the segment, or you didn't have a segment with the three women, but you split Gunther and Jay's segments into two.
Like, why?
I don't. Everything Jay did here, he could have easily
On it
just
front.
done in the open to the show. No
Yeah,
question.
easy. It would made both segments even better. Like okay.
So Jey Uso and Io during her promo, she's talking about both of you women aren't going to continue to underestimate me. Don't you think that would have been great to say to their face? So the whole
Yeah,
entirety of this feud was not just them muffing Io.
literally, that's all it was them muffing EO. So if EO does not win, boy, does she look just great coming out of WrestleMania.
Yeah, literally. She has to win at that.
Yes, literally. Like I don't know if she will, because there is that like Bianca WrestleMania streak they might want to keep and
Oh
shit.
God,
So I wouldn't be surprised if
forgot about
Bianca
that.
wins, especially you mentioned with that Jade match they probably want to do if that's
Yeah.
still gonna happen.
Hmm.
But like in terms of the way you built this feud, Io has to win, or else she looks horrible.
Yeah, the best course of action here, dude. You got to have Io win and then do Io and Asuka at
Yeah,
Evolution.
I would
That's
I would genuinely do that.
yeah. And then on the other side of the coin, you could maybe do some interesting stuff. You could maybe do, uh, Tiffany Stratton versus Rhea Ripley. You could do
Yeah.
You could do, you could do Jade and Bianca for not a championship because surely you're not going to put a championship on Jade Cargill. Um, you could do a couple different things. You could do a couple different things for
Mhm.
sure. But hopefully the outcome they go with is not a bad one. But
Hopefully.
we will have to wait and see. So Jey Uso, he comes out. He has new tattoos on the right side
Does.
of his. It's kind of like an upper neck tattoo,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the one Bray had. Kind of like the one Bray had, where it comes on the
It was like,
back of like the back of his neck, and it like
yeah.
starts to like ride up like towards his hair. Looks nice.
Looks
Looks
sick. I'm
nice.
sure it connects to his like back piece and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. He comes out. He is not yeeting. He is wearing all black still, but he is hype. He is boogieing. He is, he's bobbing his head and he's doing the thing. Well, he's not doing the thing. He's bobbing his head and he's kind of just jigging around. He gets on top of the announce table and does the whole run it back thing so the crowd can continue to yeet. Thought that was a little lame, but
Mm-hmm. I saved that for the victory again.
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
if he didn't do none of this, after, the stuff with Jimmy, and then he's completely serious. that running back after he won would have been super dope as a celebration,
Yes.
and you're just doing it on the go home show for the fuck of it.
Just
Okay.
literally. So he said what he had to say to Gunther last week. This week, he wanted to come out here and talk to the fans. He says everyone has been asking him where his mind is. Yeet. Am I crashing out? Yeet. Hell yeah, I'm crashing out. Yeet. We're back to this. But
Yep.
I'm locked in. Yeet. For my family. Yeet. And for y'all. Yeet. He says, I listen to you talk, Gunther. Yeet. You're mad. Yeet. And you're afraid. Yeet. You're afraid I'm going to beat your ass and take your title. Yeet. I'll see you Saturday. Yeet. Yeet. Jay.
Dog.
Jay.
I knew they weren't going to keep it up. I
Why?
fucking
Oh,
knew.
see, okay. We seen the video of him doing that little appearance at Pat McAfee's big night out thing. And and Jay's sitting there like normal, just doing the yeet. He's working the crowd and whatnot. He's fucking moving his hands. And I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt. I said, all right, he's doing something, not on television. All right, he's doing a thing for Pat. Let him have fun. Come on, Monday Night Raw. He's not yeeting with his hands.
Which that was nice.
That was nice. That was nice. And I liked how he moved and reacted to what Gunther was saying. Because he's coming out here cocky. Because he got in Gunther's head. Right? He got in Gunther's head last week. So he's coming out here a little cocky. Maybe this could mean for an unpredictable outcome. Maybe. But what got me here is going back to the pausing on the promos and just the crowds, man. When the crowds, when they sometimes, man, they really just oversaturate things, and the crowds sometimes do not know when to just shut up. But it's not entirely their fault, because Jay's the one pausing. I mean, what else are they supposed to do? If Jay were to, he did it last week. The crowd was a bit stupid last week. I'll give them that. Jay was trying to cut a promo, and they're trying to get their fucking yeets in. It's like,
he literally had to tell them to stop it.
Yes, and then there were, believe it or not, there were still people who were doing it. So it's just like, okay, you can't really blame Jay for that, but dude, I've said it since he won the Royal Rumble. If this is what we're gonna have to deal with every week for the World Heavyweight Championship, and the picture around that title, I love Jay. It's gonna be a rough watch. It's gonna be a rough watch, because, man, it's just hard to get into these promos when there's an oversaturation of crowd involvement. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's crowd involvement is great. You look at if you look at the New Day, you remember their old promos where they would have the crowd get involved and do the who, but they weren't doing it every 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
The whole promo is just words, crowd, words, crowd. It's like, dude, just talk for more than a sentence and a half.
Am I crashing out? Yeet. I'm crashing out. Yeet. Is Sir K locked in? Yeet. He's locked in. Yeet. I mean, dude, it's just like, you gotta do me a favor. Do at least 2 yeets a promo, and I guarantee you this will be that'll be better than majority of his promos. Give me 2 pauses during the promo where you let the fucking crowd yeet. But man, I mean, it is just, who is to get behind that, man? It sounds like you're trying to. It sounds like you're trying to voice over a commercial or something. You know, I mean, it's like every I don't know. It's an oversaturation of crowd involvement is what it is, and I know he's over. I know he's
Hmm.
over, and you know, it's just like he can be over without oversaturating it because over time it's going to become old, in my
It's
opinion.
gonna get the more you just do that, it's gonna get old fast.
Yes.
LA Knight, he doesn't fucking yeah 24/7. He'll cut a normal ass promo. At the end, he hits his yeah. He'll still cut a full length promo and then do his, his catchphrase at the end. Boom, easy. He's
He
not
he has
between them.
yeah,
Hmm.
he has range. LA Knight
Exactly.
has showed range. If he needs to cut a serious promo, he can do
He can
that.
do it.
If he needs to throw in little innuendos and be funny and kind of just poke fun at someone and be just a cocky asshole, he can do that. He doesn't heavily rely on his IP. You know what I mean?
He
And that's
doesn't.
what they've done with Jey Uso here is they've stripped him down to the bones of just yeet, you know,
That's
and
all it is.
you know, and we know how much range Jey Uso has had. Jey Uso deserved a fucking Oscar for what he did walking out of that segment where the bloodline turned on Sami Zayn. And all the
Yeah.
promos leading up to that. We've seen his range, dude. Or what about the
He,
promos? I don't give a damn what the tribal chiefs say. We know he has range. We know he can get serious. He can be funny. He can be you know, he could be sad. He could be angry. We know he can do these things. He can cut a happy and hype promo. I mean, he does it every fucking week. That's kind of all they've narrowed him down to, but there's so much more. There's so much more to this guy than, again, just stripping him down to just his intellectual property, his yeet. I mean, that's that.
exactly.
It man, it really makes me wonder
Hmm.
when Yeet got banned for that week. What would have happened?
You did. I forgot it got banned for that week.
What would have
Damn.
happened?
Maybe we would. Well, we
Would
probably
he
wouldn't have
even be
got.
in the spot?
Probably not. Probably not. That's the thing. I would like to think, we might get this, but in a more serious version. But he probably wouldn't have been in this spot right now anyway. Um, Very interesting. I forgot they did fucking ban it for that week, and they fucking just he showed up in a shirt with just yeet blurred out for some.
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird week. I don't know why they fucking banned the word for that one week. Very
Um,
interesting.
remember there was an indie wrestler that owned it, and they had to like pay him to get
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was so stupid. It's always those random like I remember when FTR fortunately became FTR. They weren't going to be called FTR in AEW, or they were, but it was going to be Fear the Revolt or something
The
like
revolt.
that.
Yeah.
Yep, and some indie nobodies that to this day, you ever heard of the Revolt? Nope, they got that shut down because they owned it. It's always those random nobodies that screw those up, man. But and all this Jey Uso stuff got me. That's why I mentioned earlier. I'm very scared for the summer of WWE because we have no European shows. We'll probably have Jey Uso as champion, and that could be very muddy. And I
Mm-hmm.
love Cena, and it's going to be awesome, but we're not going to get a whole lot of them.
I was yep.
Very scared for the summer of WWE, man. I am very scared to see how the summer goes because usually, last 2 years, summer has been the ride for WWE. It's been kind of more fun than WrestleMania season at this point. You got the European shows. They got a very freedom amount of TV they could do and who they could push and whatnot. And this year it looks like they have almost none of that. So I'm very scared this post WrestleMania summer this year.
I completely understand. I completely get you. Yeah,
Mm.
it is it is something where and you know,
No, it is, champ.
I was really looking forward to I was really looking forward to one of the highlights of the summer being Kevin Owens winning Money in the Bank and cashing in on Jey Uso. I still think whoever the winner is does cash in on Jey, whoever that may be. I don't think whoever is going to cash in on John Cena. I just don't see that.
No.
Unless they hold it until for the guy that is after John Cena. Maybe
They
it's like
could.
Rollins or something to cash in on Punk. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's too early to
Maybe
tell.
maybe it could be Drew, and he could just wait for Punk to get it, and then he cashes in on Punk. Maybe. But even then, I would
Yeah,
kind of prefer Drew to just beat him straight up. I think
yeah.
that's a better outcome. But there is that possibility. But I do see the Money in the Bank going for Jay, whoever it may be at this point.
Yeah, and man, I wish it was Kevin Owens, bro. I
That's
very
what I'm
very
telling you.
sad that it is not Kevin Owens. I think that just was just such a perfect just blending of storylines, man. And I just man, that would have been so awesome. That would have been so
Oh,
awesome.
definitely.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I love Jay, but holy shit, am I scared because I feel next Monday we are going to be looking in the face of the Yeet Man as the world heavyweight champion. So,
And I was thinking this during the promo.
mhm.
This is why I want serious Jey Uso now because on the post WrestleMania episode, he's gonna be happy, he's gonna be
Yep.
celebrating, he's gonna be eating all over. That's what we got this week. Obviously, next week makes sense. He's a champ now. Finally, he's celebrating. That's the time where you go all out. You eat it up, and you're doing it this week. It's going to be the exact same thing next week, except he's just going to be champion. So that's why you take your time and you be serious now, because next week it's going to be a celebration for him, and it's going to be the exact same thing that we got tonight in terms of a promo.
Yeah. Did you see on Jay's way out? Did you see that guy dressed as the Fiend?
No, I didn't.
Dude, he had a pretty decent sized beard, and it was a pretty good costume, man. It was a pretty good costume. It made me laugh just because I just thought, just how random is that? The Fiend just standing there in the crowd. He had the Fiend title and everything. He looked really cool. So props to that guy. He had
So
the exact code. He had the gloves, the pants. He had it all. He had it all, man. And
it's really cool.
yeah, it was a really cool cosplay. So shout out Bray.
Surely, shout out, man. I miss that man so much.
I miss him. I always wonder what he would be doing now. Hopefully nothing that what his group is doing.
Yeah, which are just nowhere to be found.
Oh fuck.
Still, we probably would have got the Bo versus Bray match this year at WrestleMania. I would think, by all logic, that's what we would have got.
Maybe it would have happened
Damn,
last year. That's what I was thinking. Just because of
true.
the
True.
if the Lashley match was gonna happen, I feel unless they were
And
just gonna do something completely. I know he was supposed to feud
it
with Cross. They
it
wanted
it
to do that feud.
it is Triple H. You want to
Yeah. Oh
Triple H
yeah,
would
that's true.
definitely build a year for Bray versus Bo, most definitely. So
Um,
I would think this year, to be honest.
It's always sad to think too, because I remember one guy that always talked about wanting to feud with Bray is on his way back. It is Aleister
Hmm.
Black. They talked about feuding all the time with each other. So that sucks. But his spirit lives on, and another WrestleMania
Always.
season goes by where we wish he was participating. Which his last WrestleMania ended up being what the Firefly Fun. Oh no, that Orton one, right? Ugh.
Oh, man, damn. That's unfortunate, man. At least he has a pitch black match to look back to.
Uh,
I
I
mean, he
it's
looks
better than the
cool.
Orton match. Yes,
Yeah, he looks
better than the
cool,
Orton
man.
match. He looked cool. Yeah, you're right.
He
You're
looks
right. You're right. It
cool. He
wasn't
looks-
wasn't too crazy of a match, but it was better than it was a hell of a lot better than that Orton match. So
They were sponsoring an actual very tasty soda, so I'll give them that.
it was yeah. Pitch Black was very good. I remember our taste test where you almost dropped your fucking camera in the glass.
I would have been so pissed.
That would have been so bad, dude.
I would have been so bad.
Camera just
We would have.
fries out midstream. got an overnight Amazon one for the next stream. Oh, that would have been horrible.
That'd have been. Oh man.
That would have been bad. Judgment Day. They attack Braun Breaker in the back. Backstage Braun. Well, not entirely. He did. He did get his ray of sunshine towards the end here. We then get Finn and Pentagon having a match where Braun Breaker came out and started attacking Finn Balor, causing a DQ finish. And a brawl between all guys left Finn and Penta standing at the end of it. Finn was standing on the ramp. Penta was standing in the ring. So I'm sure this confirms either Dominic or Braun Breaker, the two guys left laying. One of those men are going to be the one walking out with the IC title, which if I'm a betting man, I'm thinking I'm thinking Dom's going to walk out with the title. And I think he's going to pin Balor to get there.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think it's a good way to get it off Braun if you want that right now. He doesn't get pinned. And you have the story with Finn and Dom. I think it does just make all the sense in the world. And I'm very excited to see. I mentioned, I'm scared, post WWE or post WrestleMania, summer of WWE. I'm very intrigued to see what they do with Braun post WrestleMania. I'm very intrigued. I hope it's with a certain person, man. But that's just me hoping.
You said Braun?
Braun. Mm-hmm.
Who are you thinking?
I think it's the obvious. I think he would have an advocate. Hopefully, if I'm a hoping man after WrestleMania.
I thought you meant face. My bad.
No,
I misheard you. What do you think about Braun being the guy to have Goldberg's retirement match?
I think it makes sense, to be honest. If you're gonna have to do it anyway, get it out the fucking way. Braun, he's got the better spear, all that. They kind of match in terms of physical style. Obviously, one's fucking 10 times, 100 times the in-ring man than the other man. But I think it makes sense for like their styles and their vibes and whatnot. And I think it'd be the perfect person to retire Braun, or to retire Goldberg. But what about you?
Retire Braun Breaker already? No, I think it's the right option. I know we heard a couple of weeks back at this point, multiple weeks back. I know we heard that it was supposed to be Gunther. I ultimately I don't think those two would mesh well. I think Gunther is too slow and methodical for Goldberg. Goldberg is a 3-minute match guy, run around, do some stupid shit, and then pack this thing up. Gunther is more of, the dissection. He's going to, right? He's gonna string you along and just absolutely fucking break you down. I think Braun is the perfect option, and I think that's why it's the perfect time to take the IC title off of him, because he's very Goldberg-esque, but he can actually wrestle. And I think, he's very Goldberg-esque. He's got that, just absolutely dominant spear. And he's got just he's just got that Goldberg aura to him. And I think Goldberg versus Breaker is the way to go. I think he's the one to retire him for sure.
I think so.
So, moving on to the final segment of your WrestleMania Go Home show, Paul Heyman is sitting on a production rack as CM Punk walks up to him. He puts he sits next to him. He says, "Look in my eyes. What do you see?" Heyman, thinking it's karaoke night, says, The cult of personality? Punk says, "No, a real friend." In the background, we see Roman Reigns, who just got out of his Escalade. He's sitting there staring at Paul Heyman, talking to CM Punk, like, what are you doing? So, Paul Heyman is then startled by his tribal chief catching him cheating on him.
Literally, and freaking played it up at it.
And he starts running towards Roman Reigns. He's saying, "My tribal chief, my tribal chief. And he's running up to him, and Roman is walking away. And he then makes his way out to the ring. He asks Sacktown to acknowledge him. He says, the whole world understands you should never betray your tribal chief. But some people would betray me. He says, anyone want to take a guess who that is? He says, wise man, how can you betray me? Heyman says, it's not a betrayal. I had to pay back a favor that I owed. Roman says, the way favors work is you pay it back yourself. He says the only person that it feels like is getting screwed here is me. And if there's one thing about your tribal chief, we don't ask for favors. We take what we want. So, I don't owe a favor because I never asked for help. So tell me, how am I supposed to cover the tab for your dumbass favor? I'll say, if this really is Saturday night, the end of the tribal chief and wise man,
I'm gonna shed a tear.
yes, and I love this, man. I just love how Roman. I just love the arc of his character, man. I mean, him being this much of an asshole to Paul Heyman is really gonna bite him in the ass, and he's gonna completely fuck himself over because, again, sure, you can sit here and say all this, but if you didn't have CM Punk, you would have gotten tsunamied from 20 feet in the fucking air with a 300+ pound man coming down on you if it was not for Punk. So I love how Roman, he liked the favor then, but when it's not convenient for him, now he doesn't like the favor anymore, and he thinks it's a dumbass favor. Now again, the favor is pretty stupid in general because, look, if Roman was having a separate match and didn't have Heyman ringside at all, okay, then it makes sense. Like, okay, he's not going to go out there with Roman. Heyman is literally still going to be ringside for Roman's match. So Paul Heyman quite literally is still going to be in the corner on the outside for this match. So,
Half that match, he's gonna be sad when Roman's getting offense on him.
Yep.
He's gonna be sad when Punk's getting offense on him. He's gonna be confused and scared when they're both getting offense on each other. You know exactly how he's gonna act the whole match ringside. It's like, come on. But like you said, I do really like the Roman Reigns character, and I like how he's fucking himself over with this. And this could be a swerve where him and Heyman are in cahoots and they're just making each other look like this because they're on the same side or whatever. But overall, I do think this might be the end of their pairing, and it's gonna be sad, R.I.P. But that's a good way to do it. It's Roman. He's been doing it. He did it with his own bloodline when they got back together. He's doing it with his wise man. He's costing everyone in his life by his own ego, and I like it.
Me too. Seth Rollins came out here, and for me, this is where things got very interesting. And I gotta say, to WWE, I'm very glad that they did end up putting this in the main event. In hindsight, which obviously at the time, I was not wrong for feeling that at least I don't feel I was wrong for feeling like they announced that too early, just in case. But I will say these three guys did make this main event worthy, and I think that is the case because just because of all the going into this for a while, Seth felt like a third wheel, but the past 2 weeks, he's actually said some really interesting stuff that I was saying in the intro to this Unscripted. I really think sheds a lot of light towards what could possibly be happening. And I'll explain all my conspiracy theories in a minute. So Seth comes out here. He says, after a decade, he's talking to Roman. He says, you're finally putting the pieces of the puzzle together yourself, but it might be a little too late because I still have to end you at WrestleMania, and it is for the same reason it has always been, because it's the right thing to do. He says that triple threat match is the most important WrestleMania, he says that triple threat is the most important triple threat in WrestleMania history because the winner will define our future and wait. Where? Hold on. Okay, never mind. Okay, I didn't want to say the line too quickly. I had to make sure I wrote that down in the correct order. Okay, my bad. So he says, oh brother, where was I? Okay, the winner will define our future. He says it cannot be a business full of people like you. Because if the business is filled with people like you, it will be egotistical people that have no work ethic or something along those lines. He says, and if the business is full of people like you, the business dies. And it cannot be Punk either. People who pick their ball up and go home when times get tough, only to come back and leech off other people's success. The business will die. If the business is built with people like me, people willing to sacrifice and do what is best for business. When's the last time we heard that?
Mm-hmm.
He says it will only live, but it thrives. There can only be one, and it's got to be me. He says favors don't happen by chance. Favors are by choice. And he chose, he points at Heyman, he chose whether he is going to repay he chose he says favors don't happen by chance, they happen by choice. And if he chooses whether to repay me, repay that debt to me, he can, but he's a scumbag, so I don't expect anything from him. He is not in Punk's corner by chance. He has made a choice. He is not just returning a favor. He is choosing. And we got to figure out why he is choosing CM Punk over you. Okay. So, Rollins is talking about he needs the business to be filled with people like him. Mm-hmm. And the most interesting line in all of this to me is this business needs to be built with people who are willing to sacrifice and do what is best for business. I ask you again, when was the last time we heard a man utter the sentiment, best for business? And what did that man end up doing?
Mm.
The last guy to say that was John Cena on that Royal Rumble media scrum.
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds Seth Rollins aligns himself with this whole Rock thing? I see a lot of people saying this. It would be an interesting move because generally Rollins doesn't like those kind of people, but he's talking about sacrificing. And we are slowly starting to see Rollins get more sadistic, more almost
Desperate.
desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And what's and the last guy who got desperate, what ended up happening to him? It was John Cena. John Cena got desperate because he got eliminated from the Royal Rumble after not being able to win a match in like 2,000 days. Man, this is one of those things. I'm really gonna have to see it. I'm really gonna have to see it, and I'm gonna have to see how they do it before I get a feel for this, because you know it's I mean, I'm sure it will be good. It just
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a crazy move. It's definitely a ballsy move for sure to turn Rollins heel in that capacity. Maybe they want him to be there as the full-time guy to carry this act out. And
Okay.
it would be very, I guess, maybe poetic for, remember a couple months ago when when Rollins begged Cody not to sell out to The Rock? Remember? What are you, stupid? Maybe the whole time Rollins wanted that spot for himself. And he's seen the opportunity for himself to achieve all of his dreams and sell his soul. What are the fucking odds we see Seth Rollins join this in an ultimate shock? And Cena did say in an interview before, this whole story has a lot more twists and turns that you guys don't know of. I don't know about you, man. I'm willing to give it a chance. It's not anything, it's not something. It's definitely not something that I thought of to be,
No.
a crazy idea. But at the end of the day, man, I sort of felt the same way about the John Cena heel turn. It was like, honestly, at this point, I was sort of at peace with him just never turning heel just because it had been so long. But it was once they gave it to me where I sat back and I said, okay, this could make a lot of sense. And as I sat here and thought about all the things Rollins has said, and more so the way he's been acting lately, maybe him being desperate, it's killing him, and him seeing all the bad guys get loved more than him, the Roman Reigns, who's a jagoff, character wise,
Mm-hmm.
or the CM Punk, who's an
Yeah.
asshole, only cares about himself character wise. So how are you feeling about this, man? Because I'm not gonna lie, again, if you would have asked me this, a month ago, I don't necessarily, it's not something I would have been bouncing off the walls to see. But with everything that they've set up, I'd be willing to at least give it a chance and just see it first to see what exactly they have in mind. Or would you just go turning Rollins heel the traditional route?
Yeah, I would definitely be okay with trying to see it. I think, they could probably make it work. They're good at making things work, and they could probably make it work. I still don't think I love that idea. At the
Okay.
end of the day, you've done that exact same thing with Rollins before. He literally went through a part of his career, i.e. the Shield, where he sold his soul to get all his dreams and whatnot. So you would definitely have to do a lot of changes to that to make it work. I would think less of selling his soul and more of sacrificing his soul. Maybe he joins up with The Rock and them, and not really because he wants to, but because he has to,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't love being a part of them, but it's like the only way to fix the problems of Roman, Punk, and etc.
Mm.
I think that's a way you can make that work. I think of just straight up just selling his soul and kind of reveling in it. I don't think that would really work because, again,
Yeah.
you've done that exact same thing before with Rollins, and you've kind of set his whole character up since then to generally regret what he did then and
Yeah.
there.
I get that.
Even then, like even now, he'll make jabs to Roman at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, his character regrets what he did there. Um, so I think just repeating that would kind of slap in the face the whole aftermath to the Shield, to heel Rollins at that time. But I think you can make it work. Like you said, Seth was mentioning sacrifice and whatnot. Maybe he's the sacrifice. Maybe he's sacrificing his soul to that regime. Like I said, to fix what he thinks are problems within the company. Maybe he sees John Cena, even though as a heel, as, a better alternative to, Cody and better alternative to Roman. And maybe he's looking even bigger and seeing the person that could beat, um, you know, a possible person that could beat Cena to establish a future, even though I think it's going to be Punk that beats, Cena. And maybe that's what infuriates him even more in that situation. Maybe he feels betrayed in that. So, I think you can make it work. You definitely have to do it in a different way. I
Yeah.
don't think he could be super corporate, loves to be evil
No.
corporate guy because you did that before. So you can't really do that again, but you can make it work. Again, I don't know how much I love that. And I think a lot of people were saying with that idea, you mentioned of him joining The Rock is that, Heyman joins them too. I don't like that either. I,
That
I
I don't
really want
like.
Heyman to go off and kind of do his own thing with a new person.
Yeah.
And maybe Heyman does join them and he brings a new person with them to them, i.e., he could be bringing Braun Breaker to them, and maybe you could do something there. Um, but overall, I don't mind it. I would definitely be willing to see it. I'm sure they can make it work. It just that whole thing scares me because that could be something that could go wrong very easily. So I think they could do it, and I think they could do it right. It's just a little scary to me, if they get it right or not, but it is interesting nonetheless. What Rollins has been saying is very interesting.
Yeah.
Sacrificing this and that, and I like what Roman's doing. I like how they're setting Roman up for his own failure. I do like that, and I do like what they're doing with Seth, and that's very interesting. I would be willing to see it out if they do it right.
Definitely. And I actually think what you just said actually got me even more on board with the idea because, like you said, Rollins selling out and just being corporate, I don't think really matches the plot. But look at John
No.
Cena. John Cena is still very much to his morals, and he's
Yeah.
not, which that's the one thing that scares me about the re-inclusion of The Rock. I hope when The Rock is back on TV, they're not just these corporate goons all of a sudden. I would just like
Yeah.
for The Rock to be, letting them be themselves, but just the guy, and obviously upper management, just pulling the strings and giving them opportunity after opportunity and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because like you said, you can't, you can't just have
Yeah.
Rollins sell out and be corporate. But the good thing so far about this Rock story is that looked to be the case at first, but it's really not.
Nah.
So,
Yeah.
and two, one would say, what, he would what would be the beef with Cody and stuff. It's easy. Cody, or Rollins talked a lot last year about how he was a little jealous that, he busted his ass, yet Cody got the spot and he was in the main event.
Mhm.
And what Rollins beef could be is, I helped you, I was your shield, and you never even offered me a title shot. You never even,
Exactly.
you thought about me. You just used me, which I think is a good story to tell. And
I think so.
I actually kind of like the idea, man. I actually kind of like the idea. The more we talk about it, I'm telling you,
Mhm.
once he hit that best for business line, I was like, huh,
And it'd be really
interesting.
cool to see him interacting with The Rock, and like he hates The Rock and he still hates The Rock, but he knows he has to work with him
Yes.
to get a goal, and that's a really cool dynamic to see. That happens everywhere. You got to work with people you don't like. I mean, that's why fucking Punk left AEW, but and you could see it and that'd be a really cool dynamic to see on television because that's not something you see all the time. Is someone? I mean, we did see it a little bit, i.e., with Punk and Roman in like the War Games build, and that was really cool.
Hmm.
People that don't like each other having to work together, that's a cool dynamic. And I think Rock and Seth can do that really cool. Where
Yeah.
Seth, despised The Rock. The Rock kind of rubs it in his face a little bit at times that he has to work with him. And
And
I like that
and
idea.
and see too, you have this dynamic where Seth doesn't really like The Rock, but The Rock
Mhm.
likes Seth because of what he does for
Yeah,
the company, you know?
exactly.
So So the more, I mean, honestly, man, the more we talk about
Predicting
this,
it.
it's kind of it's actually
Kind of
not
getting
really a
it.
fucking bad idea. It's not really a
No.
bad idea, bro. But yeah, man. I mean, it is very interesting, man. It's very interesting to see how they're gonna go with this. And I will say, a couple weeks ago, I was front and center calling Seth a third wheel, and I know my
Yeah.
my
Same.
man here was saying the fucking same thing, bro. I mean,
He
it
was in the
was
chair.
he was
He was
literally
in the
just
next
standing
bench.
there. He was, yes,
Yeah.
he was in the chair facing the master bed. So I mean, it was, he was literally just there. But with this inclusion, and man, once he said that line, my eyebrows went up because I said, wait a minute, this could be very interesting, bro. And then, like you said, nothing is working. He's trying to do it his way, yet guys like Punk and guys like Roman are still running the company. They're
He's
still the top faces, and it should be him.
Exactly. He's trying to do it the right way, and he's doing the good thing, and he's trying to do a good thing the right way. It's not working out. So maybe to him, he has to do the good thing in the wrong way. The same way those guys are doing it, and they're winning. There's the phrase that's very true. You could do everything right and still lose. That's Seth right now. He's doing everything right, and he's still losing. Maybe he's gotta do a little wrong to in his mind to get the right result, which is the end of Roman Reigns or the Tribal Chief, end of CM Punk, end of this, end of that. I think that's a very smart thing, and there's characters that might fit well with that. Man, maybe Drew gets a little fed up and maybe I don't think KO would have worked with that. Even
No.
though he has a similar character, I don't think
Yeah.
KO would have worked with that at all. But maybe Drew might work with something like that. And
So
there's still, hmm
you had mentioned, the possibility of Paul Heyman being in that
hmm
group. And again, this all goes back to Solo Sikoa stomping out the Roman Reigns phone, but never the Rock phone. So Paul Heyman,
hmm
you know, still, at least to TV knowledge, still has open communication with the Rock, even though it may be behind the scenes. If Paul Heyman is a part of this group, I would not really like to see Heyman manage Seth, but what
No,
Heyman could do is add a young
a
guy
young
to the
guy.
group.
Mm,
And this could be two people. Last week, we discussed the probability of having Braun Breaker in there.
hmm
But they could also do another guy, like another guy that Heyman also sort of coaches behind the scenes. And this might rub Seth the wrong way a little bit. What about Bronson Reed?
Ooh, I would like that. I would like that actually, because one, not saying Bronson Reed needs someone like him,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Braun Breaker is easier, better off
Yeah.
without Heyman, and and Bronson Reed would benefit more from
Yeah.
Heyman if that makes sense. Not that either need or don't need him, but Bronson would benefit more from Heyman than Braun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like that.
So yeah, I mean there is a lot of very interesting ways they can go with this. And the more I sat on this and the more I thought about this, man, this actually could be a
I like it.
pretty good option, man. This could be a pretty good option. And I actually really like this. I'm actually really messing with this, and I think this could be a really good way for them to go if they wanted to tell this story with Rollins, because you know, like we were just talking about, he tried everything. Roman is
hmm
still an asshole. He still hasn't woken up. So maybe the way to wake Roman up is for Roman or Seth to align with Roman's very cousin.
hmm
And then obviously, at the end of the wise man and all that type of stuff. You have that, and then look at again, Rollins does everything the right way. CM Punk still gets main events. He still gets all the attention. He's loved from the fans and all this stuff. And maybe he's seeing what John Cena did and is looking at,
Worked.
is considering his options. Well, John Cena sacrificed his soul to the Rock, or sold his soul to the Rock, and he is in the main
Has to
event of
sacrifice.
WrestleMania. So maybe, and
Mm-hmm.
Rollins' whole character is centered around sacrifice. So a lot of times his whole
Mm-hmm.
character is centered around doing things that he regrets doing later in life. But what's the other thing Rollins always said? Starting from the Messiah, it's for the greater good.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's for the
So,
greater good.
so again, in his mind and his why as a heel is, and this is what I love
It's
so much.
necessary.
This is what I love so much about Triple H is he was just on an interview talking about how the most important thing for a heel is the why, and that is one
Mm-hmm.
thing Vince McMahon fucking lacked. Okay, was the why, and Rollins sure as shit has a why.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in his mind, all this stuff would make sense, man. All this stuff would make sense. He watched CM Punk walk right back in here and get everything on a silver platter after shitting on the company for years, and here he is, a loyal soldier, gets hardly anything in return. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It makes all the sense. I actually really like it the more we talk about it and the more they can do with it.
Yeah. So that is oh, actually, we didn't even fucking finish the segment. Roman Reigns, after Rollins says, let me just go and recap the end. So he says, he is in Punk's corner by chance, or sorry, he is in Punk's corner by choice. He, oh, my bad, dude. I completely just jacked that up. He says he is not in Punk's corner by chance. He is in his corner because he made his choice, and he is not just returning a favor, he is choosing. And what we got to figure out is why is he choosing CM Punk over you? Roman says, "Wise man, he is right." He turns his back to Heyman and sort of aligns with Rollins for a second. He says, "You made your choice, and I've made mine." He drops the mic and then he clotheslines Seth, gets Seth out of the ring. He walks up to Paul Heyman and muffs him.
Mm-hmm.
Straight just muffs him down to the ground. Paul Heyman is looking scary as ever. And
Weird.
CM Punk comes out. CM Punk comes out and saves Heyman. He gets Roman Reigns out of the ring. He goes to check on Paul Heyman. He turns around and Roman is back in the ring already. He spears him. Seth reliving some old stuff that he once said he was very regretful of, but here he is doing it again for the greater
Keep giving
good
that. Mm-hmm.
because it's best for business. He hits Roman Reigns with a steel chair in the same position
Yeah.
that they were in 2014, 11 years ago. He stomps both of them to go off the air. As that is that. As yeah, I don't know, man. I very well could see Rollins joining this whole thing, man. I can very
I
well
could
see
see it.
this.
I could very much see it. And, Heyman might join it. He might not. Might do his own thing. He might just be helping Rollins in the main event as just, his favor to them. It's more or less a favor for Paul Heyman as his way out
Mm-hmm.
of Roman Reigns. And maybe he wraps it up with all those guys and maybe like Hit a Rainmaker says he leaves all of them. He goes to like Braun or something. You could do a
Yeah,
lot.
you could do a lot.
And you could do a lot, and I'm very intrigued to see how they do this, man. But I'm very, very intrigued to see how all this goes come WrestleMania, man. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and my other question too, you know, in my honest opinion, dude, if you don't align Seth with The Rock and John Cena, honest to God, what
What do you
does Seth
do?
Rollins do after WrestleMania?
Nothing. He has nothing. So I think it might be best.
Because I honestly think Raw after Mania, one of these guys is getting jumped by Miro. And I think that is going to be one of these guys is going to be his first feud back. I think.
Hmm.
I
I wouldn't
think.
doubt it.
Um But yeah, honest to God, man, if Rollins does not win this match, or sorry, if Rollins does not align with them, what in the world do you do with Seth Rollins post WrestleMania? Because I, I, I have no idea. I have absolutely no
Yeah,
idea what you do
like,
with him.
yeah, I would have no idea what you would do with the current version of Seth after WrestleMania.
So it is interesting, and I am very interested to see how this whole thing plays out. But they got options. They have options. That is a not a shortage that they have. That is not a problem that they have to worry about. Is having options
Mm.
because they got a lot of them. But we will have to wait and see on that. However, yeah, that is everything. That is going to do it for this edition of NHP Unscripted, man. As this has been episode 243 of the or of Unscripted, and with all of that, yeah, man, that is going to do it. The next time we will see you guys for Unscripted is the Raw after WrestleMania. So
Yeah.
very interested to see how this whole thing goes this weekend, but with all of that, that is going to do it for this edition of Unscripted. Thank you guys so very much for joining us. It has been always a pleasure for my Johnny.
And Sir okay.
And that is going to do it for this edition of NHP Unscripted. This has been episode 243. Thank you guys, everybody who came out live, and everybody who is a part of the Replay Mafia. Thank you guys so very much for joining us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys Friday, day 1 of 4 of the 4-day stretch for the news and the WrestleMania 41 predictions.
Peace.